Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to my show, High Road to Humanity. In every episode, I tell you powerful true stories filled with great wisdom that you can use in your own life as you strive for a higher road to travel. My featured guests will have their own unique stories to tell that enlighten your mind and your soul. So kick back, relax, and learn the secret to success when you take the high road.
First touch, strong connection, it lays deep in your soul.
Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and welcome to High Road to Humanity. And guess who's with me today? R.J. Spina is here, and he's written a fabulous book. It's called Supercharged Self Healing, a revolutionary guide to access high frequency states of consciousness that rejuvenate and repair. Now, if you're watching me on YouTube, this is what the book looks like. This is an amazing story, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to preface the show and just say that R.J. Spina shares the unique 7-step healing system that he used to overcome chest down paralysis and chronic illness, and now utilizes to help countless others heal their debilitating health challenges. So this is what we're going to talk about today on the High Road, and I'm so glad he's here. Before I bring him on, I just want to thank everybody who supports High Road to Humanity. If you're interested in a psychic reading, go to my website, nancyyearout.com, and just click on the book button. One thing I pulled up today, which I thought was super, super great, because, we don't get a lot of good news here, but on Market Watch, here's the headline: the shocking good news about getting older. If you're aged between 35 and 65, like me, here's some good news for a change. Things are going to get better, or more accurately, things are going to feel better. It's official. The most comprehensive study ever done has shown pretty much beyond any room for doubt that things will get better for us as we get older. See, we got something to look forward to. Actually, because we are getting older. The so-called midlife mood slump is real. We are on the whole happier when we're young and when we're old. It's the part in the middle that sucks. I think this is great. We find remarkably strong and consistent evidence across countries of statistically significant, easy for me to say, non-trivial U-shapes in age and well-being, report David Blanchflower, professor of economics at Dartmouth, and Carol Graham of the University of Maryland in a new paper. Okay, so they're saying that the effects of the middle age dip we find are comparable to major life events such as losing a spouse or becoming unemployed. But he says, and here was me thinking the middle life slump was the result of being Generation X sandwiched between a bunch of boomers who won't get off the stage and millennials who can't wait to run us over. Now, I'm just going to throw in my 2 cents on this one. I agree. I'm much happier since I'm older, probably because I'm wiser and I know more. What do you think, RJ?
I think as we get older, we settle into ourself.
Yeah.
And I think all happiness, all contentment, all peace has to do with the self, what's inside, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think the beginning of our life, we're trying to find that outside of ourselves.
Right.
And then we come to a realization that no matter the job, the relationship, the location, it doesn't really bring real joy or happiness or contentment or fulfillment. And then as we get older, we start to realize, you know what? I think it's inside.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden everything changes. Yeah.
I know. I'm so glad you're here today. Let me read your bio real quick. You're in San Diego, California, I guess, is where you're joining me from today. RJ is a metaphysical teacher and guide who overcame chest down paralysis, diabetes, pancreatitis, Hoshimotos disease, and several other serious illnesses. He offers healing, counseling, meditation, and self-realization instruction throughout the world. RJ lives with his partner, Jennifer, and their 2 Jack Russells. Oh my gosh, Chihuahua mixes. Hey, welcome to High Road to Humanity official here, RJ.
Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. It's my pleasure.
I'm really glad you're here. I guess the audience wants to hear your story. Tell us what happened.
Sure. Yeah. April 23rd, 2016.
Oh, my daughter's birthday.
Wow, how ironic, right? I was sick for about 2 months prior, actually quite sick.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with sepsis, type 1 diabetes, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's autoimmune disease, and I spent a couple of weeks in the hospital, inundated with very strong antibiotics. apparently those antibiotics didn't do much, because about 8 weeks later, I literally became paralyzed from the chest down. The infection that the antibiotics were supposed to take care of actually got into my spine and crushed my spine. And there was no sensation or functionality from the chest down.
Right.
And so it's not entirely accurate to say that when I woke up from emergency surgery, I woke up literally and figuratively, because I've always been a metaphysical explorer, even as a child.
Okay.
But when I woke up from surgery, I was in a completely different state of consciousness, authentic cosmic consciousness. And I understood, more specifically, I remembered how to heal myself, literally and figuratively. And I explained to everyone in the ICU, the surgeon, the infectious disease doctor, everyone that was around me.
Yeah.
I explained that I would heal myself, and I explained it in detail, exactly what I would do. And I would get strange looks like, how do you know that? And what are you talking about?
Mhm.
But I was literally in a completely different state of consciousness, an authentic cosmic consciousness. And I said in the ICU that in 100 days, I would walk unassisted. And of course, all I heard from very well-meaning, highly educated experts was that everything that I was attempting to do was absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
And I think they thought I was just kind of delirious or so overly optimistic that I wasn't really ready to accept a diagnosis of permanent paralysis and
Mhm.
severe multiple chronic illnesses.
Mhm.
They did not understand what I was tapped into. I would explain it somewhat, but then I could tell that they just kind of dismissed it. But
They didn't get it.
in
Were you
exact,
religious before? Can I just ask you that? Were you religious before? So you were spiritual before this, yes?
very, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
as a kid, I would what we call astral project or leave my
Right.
body at will. So I've
Right.
always been like this, whatever
Okay.
whatever that means, so to speak. But
Yeah,
I said I would walk on 100 days, and exactly on the 100th day, I walk unassisted.
you did. So let me rewind. I just need to understand this because I'm so into energy and it's just such a
Mm.
big deal for me to have you on today. And I'm so glad you're here. You know, so I bring in the light every day and you talk about bringing in the light. How did you know to do that? Or was that just a practice you did before?
It, Nancy, the only way to really describe it is that when I was a little kid, I
Okay.
literally used to say to my parents and my friends, if I
Right.
ever get sick, I'll just heal myself.
So you always
So
knew.
I knew, but if someone would have asked me at that point, okay, RJ, how would you do that?
Right.
I would not have had an answer, but I knew it was in me. I
Right.
could feel it. I didn't know how to bring it out when I was much younger,
Right.
but upon awakening from life-saving emergency surgery, I literally remembered, and all those abilities and understandings came back online full force.
Yeah.
And that book captures the things that I did repeatedly for myself, and it's the same things that I've taught other people that have also made absolutely quote unquote impossible recoveries from illnesses, injuries, pain, you name it.
Right. Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I believe we can heal ourselves. In fact, I know we can heal ourselves. And I think we've been dumbed down, unfortunately, over society. We've been dumbed down to think we can't, and we can. A lot of it, I won't get onto a whole different subject here, but a lot of it has to do with the way our medical system is run and the drugs and all of that. And we just have to get away from it and realize we can heal ourselves. Now, I do have a lot of questions because I just love your book. I think it's wonderful. You guys, he goes through the 7 steps. Do you want to go through the steps today, or what would you think would be most beneficial to the audience? Do you want to share with some of them with some of those different things that you do?
Well, I'd like to start with what is in the very beginning of the book too. I
Okay.
talk a lot about what I call the ego mind identity, or
True.
the EMI.
Go ahead.
So it's my tangible understanding that all disharmony comes from disharmonious thought patterns. Okay, so we actually create our disharmony through the identifications with beliefs, concepts, ideologies, and so-called knowledge, which are simply justified beliefs.
Right.
So all of those things we identify ourselves with and then attune ourselves to these things. Now, the problem with this is that none of them are actually you. okay, what you really are, if you want to use the word soul or essence or spirit. And the book
Mhm.
goes into great detail about
Right. On the
what those,
energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
what those
Yeah.
things really are.
Right.
But all of those things and what we are come before beliefs, concepts, ideologies, even the body. So what we're doing is we're attuning ourself, our mind, and therefore our body to something outside of ourself that is not congruent with what we really are.
Mhm.
And this simply sets disharmony, sickness, disease into motion.
Right.
And that's why I spent a great deal in the first part of the book of understanding what the ego mind identity is. It's formed through incarnation. You can think of it as the conditioning or brainwashing or societal pressures. Those all fall under the auspices of the ego mind identity. But essentially, it's the character that we create, who we think we are, and how we
Right.
feel about ourselves.
Or who people tell us we are too. A lot of this is programming, sorry, from childhood, you know?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nonstop. It's
Yeah.
absolutely nonstop. And we
Mhm.
have to break free of this. I like to say, don't think outside the box, remove the box.
Okay. I love it. Well, in the beginning of the book, you one of the doctors does the foreword, and he talks about you having like no space like in between, like you were just conscious, but you didn't have like when he looked at your brain, you didn't have a lot going on, as far as you were silent. Talk about that a minute. That really blew my mind, actually. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the gentleman that wrote the forward is a Chinese medicine expert. It's been practicing
Okay.
for
Yeah.
nearly 30 years. I think he's treated, he said over 75,000 patients.
Acupuncturist, yes?
Yes, he's a
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and very talented and very, very good, very sought after for his work. And he was the only
Yeah.
visitor I had in the hospital. But he has a technique, I think it's called cranial sacral therapy, where he puts the hand on the head. And
Right.
because he's so attuned and so well schooled, he can feel sort of all the things that are going on in terms of the brain, the disharmony. And when he would put his hands on the brain, he would be able to, with people, he would be able to feel all the things that are going wrong, the nerves that are not lined up properly, uh, almost like
Like a medical intuitive does. Okay.
literally.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and so when he did that with me, and
Yeah.
I can recall it, he put his hands on my head, and then he immediately went like that and pulled his hands back. And I didn't say anything. I had a feeling I knew what was going on, but I didn't say anything. And then he put his hands back on my head again. And then he slowly moved his hands away. And I go, "Are you all right?" He said, "Yeah." He goes, "When I put my hands on your head," he goes, "I'm connecting with a vastness and emptiness that is like it's like there's nothing there, but there's everything there." And then I remember him saying, he goes, "Is this what enlightenment is?"
Yeah.
And
Sorry
so
about
that,
that.
yeah, so that's what the that's what that experience was for him. The only way he could describe it
Was
is
enlightenment.
was
Yeah.
enlightenment. He never experienced anything like that before. Yeah.
Yeah. Apologize about my phone. We had some trouble connecting before and I forgot to turn it back off. Sorry about that, especially when you're talking about this. I just thought that was amazing, because I guess what really hit me, and I just want to ask you, so when you did this process, because this is really means a lot to me because I teach this stuff, I learn, and it's so great to have you here today. But before we go to commercial break, I just want to ask you, so you were to a point almost where you weren't thinking about anything, no future, no past, just you were in the present moment and you were connected to the divine, and that's what it was. That's where you were at that
Yeah,
point, right?
yeah, literally, figuratively, in every way. It was an authentic state of cosmic consciousness.
I love it.
I was the all was in the one, and the one was in the all, and literal and tangible. And that was sort of the starting point, we could say, of being able to now bring life back into my completely destroyed and ravaged body. But I
Yeah.
knew that I would be able to do it.
You
Absolutely.
need to be able to do it. All right, we got to go to commercial break, you guys. This is Nancy Yearout. I'm here today with RJ Spina. His book is called Supercharged Self Healing. This is High Road to Humanity. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with RJ Spina. His book is called Supercharged Self Healing. So glad you're here today. I have so many questions. Okay, so here's the deal. I want to know. I couldn't wait to meet you today. So every day I bring in the light through my crown chakra. But you say in the book, and this is something I don't know about, you say open up because it's like a cone and you say, open it up before you bring in the light. I don't know how to do that. Will you show me?
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good question, Nancy. Okay.
Okay.
So what we're talking about are the chakras, right? We're talking
Yes,
about
yes, your energy fields. Y'all know about the chakras. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, and chakras, we can see these chakras, not with our physical eyes. Okay. So
Right.
when we adjust our consciousness, this can be visible to people. Okay.
Right.
So, and I'm certainly not the only one that can see these things.
Right.
So the chakra system, think of the chakras as energy transformers or energy metabolizers. Okay. They actually are what keep the form and function of your body. I know most of us think it's food.
As they spin. Right.
Yeah. Excuse me. It is not food. It's actually the energy that the chakras metabolize that keeps our body intact and keeps us going. Okay. So that's just an important understanding to get. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not food that does it. All right. There's a reason why mystics and masters have said for eons of time that they would always fast and meditate. Okay. They knew what they were talking about. So what we want to do is we want to open up our chakras, and they're kind of like cones with the funnel at the end, right? So when they're fully extended, they can extend to about a foot, about 12 inches. Most people's are sitting between 6 and 9 inches, but there's a bit of contraction or retraction going on with the chakras. So what we want to do is, and actually we can do one of these exercises right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
It would be helpful. Okay. So let's just take 2 fingers, any hand, doesn't matter. Okay. 2 fingers, and then just bring it to the center of your chest.
Okay.
Gently. Then what I want you to do, and just follow me.
Okay.
I want you to bring all of your attention and focus just to the sensation of touch in the center of your chest. Nothing exists but the tangible recognition of the sensation of touch in the center of your chest.
Okay.
And if you're doing this properly, you can't think. Now, gently, from inside your chest, reach out and touch your fingertips. Almost like you're touching your fingertips with your heart. Gently reach out and touch your fingertips from inside your chest. Now, you may have felt a little different. You may have felt a little shift. Now, what you just did is you fully opened your heart chakra. And when we do this properly, like we said in the beginning, when you bring all of your focus and attention to that sensation of touch, what happens is the energy that we use to think, it drops out of your mental body.
Yeah.
Because all the focus and attention is now right here. So for those that did that, you can't think.
Right. I couldn't actually.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Is that like a pressure point right there? Is that
No,
like
it's not a pressure point. It's your heart chakra being fully open, and what we really are, our consciousness, our sentience, whatever word you want to, I use sentience, but what we really are.
I know you use that in the book. I had to look it up. I'm like, what is this? Sentience?
Yeah, and I can explain that.
Go ahead, yeah.
When we're incarnate, what we really are sits between our heart and our spine. Okay, there's nothing in here. This is a receiver. This is like a radio.
I know we're like a computer. We are just, I always think of us like a computer, RJ, because it's like, and then we get downloads too. Talk about that too.
Yeah, the body is like a biological computer.
Yeah.
Okay, it really is. And so when we start to do that little exercise that we just did, okay, one, it stops you from thinking, which means you're no longer running the program of your own ego. So when you're no longer running the program of your ego through not thinking, or what we call meditation, there's no momentum for your disharmony and disease to keep running, just like a computer program.
It stops
right?
it.
If you unplug your computer, it's got no juice. It just shuts down. If you unplug the energy through meditation from your mind, you're no longer running your limitation program.
Right.
So by bringing the energy down, using 2 fingers to the center of the chest, and then fully opening your heart chakra, you're also directly engaging what you really are, because what you really are sits between your heart and your spine, which is why whenever someone indicates themselves, if you notice, and probably including you, when you say me, you always point, I'm pointing to the center of my chest, by the way.
Oh, you do this.
Everyone always goes me, and you point right here.
Oh
That's
my God.
that's because what you really are sits here. No one goes me.
No, they don't.
Points to their head, right?
Right.
Okay, because this is nothing but a receiver of information. What you are
It's
sits
right
right
here.
here, and that little exercise activates that by fully opening your heart chakra.
I'll have to work on it a little bit. I think mine's closed.
It just takes practice, and the more that we can fully, this is super important, Nancy. One, to
Yeah.
stop thinking. Most people say they can't meditate, and then I show them that, they're like, wow, that was easy. It
Right.
is easy. It is
It
easy.
is. Yeah.
But in terms of energizing our body, okay, in every way, we have to fully open the chakras, okay, because those are the energy metabolizers and energy transformers. So that little exercise that we just did with the heart chakra, you can do that with any chakra.
Okay.
Any chakra, the exact same thing that we just did. You do it your throat, your third eye, your crown. It doesn't matter. Your sacral, it makes no difference. And in fact, I
Well,
recommend doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I ask you, I do bring in the light every day, and it has changed my life. Of course, I've done it for a few years now, several years. And, but I feel like, and I just want to ask you this, two things. One, I bring in white light, and now I started bringing in gold light
Mhm.
because it heals me, and I know it does, and it rejuvenates me. And I tell the audience, I actually did a video on this to teach people because we don't know to do this, and this actually heals us. But I've had someone on the show, Patty Conklin, and she healed herself with color. And I wanted to know if you brought color in.
So color for me, and this is just my perspective, right? So
Yeah.
this is going to sound odd.
Okay.
Okay. Color in and of itself doesn't actually exist. So what exists is energy vibrating at different frequencies, which then give us the ocular experience of color.
Okay.
If I said that too fast, but that's
No, I
really what
gotcha.
it is.
I
Okay.
gotcha.
So the only thing that really exists is light.
Right.
And then it's our perception of light based upon the frequency in which we're perceiving the light.
Okay.
So
Right.
when you bring in the white light or the gold light, we're getting closer and closer to what is by focusing on the white light, because in essence, everything is just light.
Just
And
the
then
white light.
And then what gets projected forward, including the body, is more of a shadow of the light. Everything comes from what we just did, that center, that self, and everything is a projection from that. So the key is to operate directly from the self, open up your chakras as much as possible. And then, like in the book, there are these revolutionary meditations and understandings that will allow you to bring in to your body much higher frequency energy into your body. And the key about that, I call it intelligent energy, because it is intelligent energy.
Sure.
It intrinsically heals and harmonizes lower frequency energy. So just like when you do, Nancy, when you're bringing in the light, what you're really doing is you're bringing in higher frequency energy, and it automatically heals, energizes, it puts you at peace, it completely centers you. So the book is just maybe a step forward in terms of that understanding by using vibration, frequency, and energy. And it's kind of the same understanding, similar, that Tesla had about 100 years ago about free energy. So you could say, in a way, it's the rediscovering of this, except with our own personal energy, and then how to access our own intelligent or free energy and use that for self-healing and authentic self-realization or enlightenment.
Right. And and that's what I believe we can do with affirmations. You talk about the spoken word, and I talk about, I'm so big into affirmations. If I don't say my affirmations, my day is just not as good. I'll tell you that right now. It's the vibration of the spoken word. Talk about that. You wrote in here, I'll just write it. I'm going to read a quote that he wrote that I liked. You say, I wrote this book so we can all begin to remember how to transcend suffering, the constraints of the human condition, and enjoy a greater quality of life. Right?
Yeah. Yes. Very dear to my heart. Yes. So mantras, affirmations, prayers, commands. Okay. What these things do, it's related to I guess like a hot topic today is like neuroplasticity, right? Sort of the rewiring of your brain by getting rid of old habits. So mantras and affirmations literally rewire the brain.
Right.
So they create a new pathway, and that new pathway is representative of a different vibration or frequency. And so through that different vibration or frequency, you then feel different, literally and figuratively, because you literally are changing your vibration and frequency. And one very powerful way to do it, as you know, Nancy, is mantras, commands, affirmations, and prayers. They work. They've been around forever for a reason, because they
Right.
work.
Right. Hey, you guys, I got to go to commercial break right now. I'm here today with RJ Spina. His book is called Supercharged Self Healing. This is Nancy Yearout. This is High Road to Humanity, and we will be right back. Hi, this is Nancy Yearout, and I'm back here with RJ Spina, and we're talking about self-healing. You know, this changed your life so much. What's your family think? I bet they were just like, what? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I've always been, we'll say unusual, for lack of a better word. I've always been very claircognizant, clairsentient, clairvoyant as a kid. I came into this world as a weirdo. So me doing these strange things is actually not that strange. I think maybe what was really interesting about this process, about the healing, when I was permanently paralyzed only for 100 days, what I did was, I think this is important because I think this will help a lot of people. So when I was literally in the hospital and then transferred into the hospital rehab for a few months, which is where I lived, right away, I told my family and friends to, believe it or not, don't contact me.
Oh,
I said no phone calls,
it's their
no text
energy.
messages, no emails. And I said, I have to supremely focus on the challenge that I have. And I cannot be using my energy to explain what the surgery was like, what antibiotics are you on.
It brings down your frequency. It would have taken you down.
It not only, that's exactly right. It not only would have taken me down, it would have been a waste of my energy. Okay. As an analogy, if we have an agenda, let's say we have to go to grocery shopping, we got to go to the store. It's just an analogy, right? So we get in the car and then we immediately start making, oh, wait, let me just return this package I got in the back. Oh, and you know what? And then along the way, let me stop at my friend's house and say hi, because I haven't seen them. Oh, and then by the way, I need to drop off this piece of paper at work because okay.
You're scattered.
Right. So what you've done is you've wasted your gas tank, and now you don't even have enough energy to go grocery shopping. So, okay. So I want us to understand about how we use our energy. It is so important. Everything that we do is with energy. So it's important that we master, and I mean master, how we use our energy. So I knew better. And I told everyone, listen, please, I got a big challenge. I accept wholeheartedly, and I will walk, but you won't hear from me. When I'm ready, I will contact you. I have to focus. Thank you.
Good for you.
So, and anyone who's dealing with something right now where they feel like they're not giving enough to themselves in order to do what it is that they need to do, it is your divine right to, if you want to say, pull back, okay, and not be so overly involved with mom, dad, this, that, social media, you name it. Pull your energy back and use it specifically, harness it for exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. Because if you don't, you're going to be making all those pit stops, and you're going to realize you literally, I don't even have enough gas.
You wasted the energy. You wasted the energy. You know, I got to say, what strength you had to do that, to say that. Inner strength to say that to your family. I mean, that's a big deal. I have to say that.
It was a tangible knowingness that I knew what I had to do. Right. And one of the things that I had to do was, and I mean, literally, I had to harness all of my energy nonstop, perpetually, in order to be able to do this. I knew what it took. And I knew that if I was making pit stops, it would throw you off.
It would throw you off. I just want to talk about this because everybody's going through this ascension right now. We're all ascending. And we're all ascending at different times because we can't all ascend at the same time. And what you're talking about really hits home because with me, and I'm sure with a lot of the audience, because, you know, we've got family members right now who are not on the same page. And what you just said is huge, because I've had to not, how do I say this? You have to stop communication with certain people, especially now as we're ascending, because they bring your vibration down. I can actually tell when I talk to certain people, they brought me back down to 3D and I was in 5D, and I know it. I can actually feel it. Talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, that's very accurate. So maybe the easiest way to sort of work with this understanding is to realize that everyone gets to evolve in their own way
Yep.
and in their own time.
It's so hard to watch other people. You just want to say, don't you see it? And they don't. It's just like, oh my God. Like I had somebody question angels today, and I was just like, she goes, I think they're all evil. I'm like, how could you think angels are evil? You've been reading too much conspiracy theory, you know? And so I see this, and you can't convince somebody. You know, I'm like, but what about the angel that came to Mary and, you know, was with Jesus and moved the rock at the, you know, when he rose from the dead. And, you know, it's really interesting. I guess it hit home with me today that it's so difficult. You can be, have a family member and there's nothing you can do until they wake up on their own. Talk about waking up on their own about that. Because it's
yeah. And if you really looked at it, metaphysically speaking, everyone has to wake themselves up. So you can't wake someone up. They have to wake themselves up. It doesn't work that way. If we were able to wake everyone else up, everyone would have done it for everybody else already. I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
Isn't it crazy? Are you watching it and just like going, oh my God?
Well, it is. I mean, it's very fascinating. I work with a lot of different people all over the world, and so those that are drawn to me and want to work with me and understand these things, they're already at a certain level of their own awakening, their own self-awareness.
Right.
But those that aren't, it's okay. I'll give another analogy. I mean, the most important one to understand is everyone evolves in their own way and in their own time. But another way to look at it is that in high school, right, there's a certain number of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, right? It's not all seniors. It's not all freshmen, right? That wouldn't work. Okay.
Right.
So just in terms of the level of consciousness or sentience or the evolution of each individual soul, because every soul is at a different level, believe it or not.
No, I agree.
So there has to be a balance. So there's no way that everyone is going to be aware and awake, and there's no way that everyone is going to be asleep. So there always has to be this balance. It must be this way. So this idea that we have to wake everyone up and save everyone, it's actually not true.
I know.
And the only way people really start to realize this thing, their own self, their own ascension, their own awakening, is through interacting with someone who is aware and awake. And that vibration starts to rub off. It's not
I agree.
Nancy telling somebody what to do or RJ telling somebody what to do. No one wants to hear it, right? So, but if they can feel that you're different, if they can see that you lead your life in a different way, if they can see that you're happy, that you're centered, that you're peaceful, that you're powerful, then they're going to want some of that.
Right.
And that wanting that will force them to go in, because that's the only place that you can get it. It's the self.
I agree. Be the example. I always say be the example. Okay, so I have a question. So how do you feel about what's going to happen in the next couple of years? I'm really feeling, I'll just tell you, and I want to know what you think. 2023, things are going to be completely different. So many people are going to be awake. Our whole world is going to be different. What do you think?
Well, I like to say that destiny is constantly being written. Okay. So I think it's entirely up to us.
Yes.
I think what's going on right now is forcing people to take a look at things and realize that the beliefs and the concepts and the ideologies that they held so dear as part of their own identity are crumbling. So it has to crumble because those things are not really you. So as a greater context, Nancy, our consciousness can no longer evolve through beliefs. Okay. There's no way to understand yourself through beliefs.
Correct.
Okay. So what we're seeing is sort of the crumbling of everything that we've believed in. Good, because it's the only way that consciousness can evolve. And it's starting to speed up as the pressures put upon us. I mean, how is a diamond form, right? Immense pressure over a long period of time. And then look what it produces.
Yeah.
So everything that's going on is actually serving the evolution of consciousness by providing examples of how not to be. And
I
so
love
by,
it.
by
Yeah.
seeing constant examples of how not to be, we're all going to say, you know what? I don't want this,
Mhm.
and I don't want to be this way. And so this will actually accelerate the evolution of consciousness and the awakening. So when you said 2023, Nancy, is that
I
what you said?
think so. I don't know. That's what I feel. I feel really good about 23. Honestly, I do.
I definitely feel that believe it or not, we're not quite bottoming out. The frequencies
Right.
are still dipping down.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, how someone has to hit rock bottom
Yeah.
with their relationship.
Humanity has to hit rock bottom.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're getting close. And then I think there is going to be a surge, and that might very well be 2023, but it's coming. It's definitely coming.
Aren't you excited?
This is the most amazing time to ever be human and ever be incarnate. I know it's chaotic and crazy and insane, but I'm telling you, this is the most amazing time. And everyone that's here right now, everyone, and I know consciously we can't access these things. We
Yeah.
can, but
Yeah.
I can tell you that everyone signed up to be here for this, because this is literally the most important and the most amazing time to be a human being ever.
I got chills. It
Mhm.
is. It is. Hey, you guys, I'm here today with RJ Spina. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they find you?
Question. I would say that go to superchargedselfhealing.com,
Okay.
because that way people can get a free guide to what I call magic tricks. And
Oh,
magic tricks that instantly dissolve stress and anxiety. So that little thing that we did with the 2 fingers to the chest,
right.
you stopped thinking and your heart opened.
Right.
Okay. There's a bunch of those, and it's a free guide. So just go to superchargedselfhealing.com and get your free guide to what I call magic tricks. By the way, they're real magic. And then that way you can be kept abreast of the book release. But if someone wants to, and the courses too, if someone wants to work with me now, they have
one-on-one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll say personal website is ascendthefrequencies.com. And my email is rj@ascendthefrequencies.com, and just send me an email.
When's the book come out? Because I think I have an early copy.
Yes, you do. So
yeah, mine's the uncorrected proof. When's it come out?
Yes, you did get the early copy. So the Kindle and the audiobook comes out November 8th, and there's just a shipping delay in the paperback, which will probably be out within a few weeks after that. But November 8th, the Kindle and the ebook, and the paper book shortly thereafter. Paperback.
Okay. We got to go to commercial break. I just want to say this is one of the best books I've ever read, you guys. As far as what's going on right now, it would really help you guys. So this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity, and we'll be right back. Hi, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity. I'm here today with RJ Spina. His book is Supercharged Self Healing. I want to talk about fasting at the very back of the book, and I pulled this up last night and I made all these little notes about fasting. Talk to us about this, about food, about consumption, the energy. This is really important stuff, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, this is super important. I'm glad you brought it up. So being able to fast, well, let me back up actually. So what I did with myself, I've always done, I guess we could say, the experiments on myself, meditation, fasting. So what I did to write that chapter on the book is that I did a 21 day fast. I had no food for 14 days, had a very small meal, and then fasted again for another 7 days. So essentially it was pretty much a 21 day fast. So what I did was, which I thought would be very helpful for people, is that throughout that entire 21 days,
okay,
what I would do is what I call log in. I would log into myself using sort of higher intuitive functions, clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, and I would log into my body and look at my body and my body of energy and see what was going on through almost like a time stamp of the fasting process itself. So as I would do that after 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours, I would write down all the changes that were happening with my body, from fat loss, fat burning, to T cell production, to growth hormone, to autophagy. So that way humanity has a much better understanding if there's something specifically that they want to work on in terms of their health. You can use this as a guide, as long as you're being supervised through fasting, and you do need to be supervised. You can use this as a guide. So if there's certain things you want to achieve, you can look up in the book, okay, how long does it take for me to start producing T cells?
I know. I was just looking at that because you give all the different frequencies, and I don't know why I'm not finding. Oh, here we go. I'm going to read this. This is pretty
Yeah.
cool, you guys. All right. So weight loss begins after 36 hours of fasting, and fat burning starts 13 hours after fasting. Your growth hormone is activated 13 hours after fasting. Detox occurs within 16 to 24 hours of fasting, and it goes on. This is interesting. I love this because it gives you, an idea of how long it takes. So you were drinking like water, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a dry fast as well. It's a little more extreme, but what I did was I would have water with some electrolytes and minerals, and
Okay.
that's all I would have for a few weeks. And
Okay.
personally, it helped me a great deal with. I have been diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic, right? So, and I don't take anything.
Right.
That's impossible. Well, so is overcoming paralysis. That is all that stuff is nonsense. Okay. All of that stuff, those are beliefs, concepts, ideologies. Okay.
Mhm.
You can do anything when you tap into your true self and your own higher consciousness. I mean that literally. We have to start to understand this.
Mhm.
Everything's on the table when you are
Mhm.
tapped into yourself and you're using your higher consciousness. And I mean it literally, not figuratively. Okay. And I'm just one example of that.
Mhm.
So we have been miseducated and overly medicated.
Right.
Okay. This
Mhm.
book is proper education in terms of what self-healing and self-realization is authentically like and how it authentically works. So please avail yourself of these teachings and use it to heal yourself, use it to liberate yourself, and use my incarnation now to heal yourself and liberate yourself, because it's time.
Yeah.
We have reached a saturation point. Consciousness, the collective consciousness, is ready to work with themselves in this way. So please avail yourself. You deserve it. It is your divine right, and it is your destiny to do so.
Yeah. I want to talk about people who get attached to their disease. I have someone who's close to me, and she is always has something wrong with her, and she always, is creating more and more, and it's going to the hospital and trying to find out, and then they tell her she's okay, and then she finds something else. And I almost feel like, people can create this stuff themselves. Talk about this a little bit, how they create it and how to uncreate it, I guess.
Yeah. This is the key, right? Okay.
Right.
So the shortest version, and I'll give a little context.
Okay.
Whatever reality, whatever conceptualized reality that we create for ourselves, our body will then have the tangible experience of that.
Right.
Okay. That's the true mind-body connection. Okay. In one sentence. All right. And I like to say, because it's true, that all disharmony comes from disharmonious thought patterns.
Right.
Okay. So we actually create our own imbalances. And we all have experienced this. If we get stressed, we start to not feel good, right? We all have done this to ourselves. Sometimes it's severe, and sometimes my stomach hurts, or, I feel off because of what we're doing to ourselves mentally, and the body has the tangible experience of it. It's that simple. Okay.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we all have to do, and the book teaches you how to do it literally step by step, we have to start to detach from the body. Okay. We are not the body. We have a body temporarily. Okay.
Right.
We slide right into it. We call that birth, and we're going to slide right out of it. We call that death. Okay.
Mhm.
Life and death are concepts. Consciousness is eternal. Okay. It's just
Mhm.
different states of being. That's all
Right.
that is. All right. So when we start to work with what we are and we detach from the body, and by the way, I had no choice to do this because
Right.
I couldn't feel my body, nor did it work. So it was easy for me. I didn't have to do anything about it. I couldn't feel it. It didn't work. Right. So I know tangibly about what it is that we're talking about right now.
Okay.
So when we start to detach from the body, what that does is, this is super important. We start to get some space between what we really are. You call it the soul if you want. We start to get some space between the soul and the body, because we're no longer identified with it. So we literally create some space. This is the key, because that's the area. Now we've given ourselves room to work.
Oh, give us room to grow. I almost said room to grow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That makes total sense.
Yeah. This is how it works. You have to
Okay.
detach. You have to get some space. And once we get some space, we realize that we can create whatever it is that we need to create. If we need to create health, we can create health. If we need to create liberation, we can create liberation. If we need to create a certain kind of life, we create a certain kind of life for ourselves. But we have to get space between what we really are and the body. We tell the body what to do. Okay, as I'm talking with my hands like a weirdo,
No,
right?
no,
But
that's fine.
this is just to give you an idea. I'm sending the command to move my hands. Okay, what I am is inside commanding my body to do something. I am aware of my body because I'm aware of when something feels good and when something doesn't feel good. I'm the
Right.
awareness that's
Right.
inside the body.
Right.
So as you start to work with the awareness directly, you'll get some space with your body. Once you get the space, now you got room to work, and then just do the steps that are in
Yeah.
that book.
Yeah.
And you can do anything that you need to do with your body. Once you have established that you are the soul and the body is something that you get to enjoy and use, and you can do anything with it,
While you're here. Yeah.
including healing it.
Yeah. Yeah. As you're talking about this, it's making me think when I realized I was an empath
Mm.
and I started to pick up the energy and of other people and to feel all that and to see it. And that kind of reminds me of what you're talking about, because you have to come out a little bit and then you start to pick all this stuff up. You know, that's kind of crazy. That's the same kind of principle, isn't it?
It is. And Nancy,
Yeah.
as you know, being an empath or clairsentient or clairvoyant, any of the clairs, right? That has nothing to do with your body.
I know.
Okay,
It's all energy.
It is what that is are attributes and talents of the soul. Okay, clairsentience, clairvoyance, being an empath, those are your higher intuitive functions of your soul. The body only has 5 senses.
I know.
So when we're perceiving, like when you're picking up other things, you're using yourself because the body has no instrument to measure those things.
Right.
So this is also further proof of what we really are.
I know.
The body can't offer clairsentience. The body can't offer being an empath. It's what you really are. These are the talents and attributes of what you really are, the soul.
Right. Well, and as you learn, as you connect more and, you know, you pray more and you meditate more, like you're talking about, that's when you get these gifts. That's when they like everybody has them. I just want to say this. Y'all have them. Everybody's got this, not just me, not just RJ. We all have this. We just, you know, I don't know. I'm a truth seeker. I think I just wanted to know, or I had to know before. You knew before. Maybe we came here to teach others. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, as funny as it sounds, most of what we uncover is really more a remembering inside, and we needed a reminder by seeing it or reading it or talking to someone, and then it triggers something inside. It's really a memory. As I know it sounds funny, but it really is, because the self, what we really are, is eternal. It's like a time-lapse camera. It just experiences and views everything. It never dies. What we really are never dies. So we kind of remember, and when we come across a teaching or we talk to someone, something inside triggers.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is memory. Most of us that are working in this way, the way Nancy works, the way I work, this is a remembering of our talents and gifts and abilities. That's all this is. It's already in there. It's already in there. We're just bringing it out. And by us bringing it out, hopefully that will remind others the same thing that's in us is the same thing that's in you. There's absolutely, it's not like, oh, just him, just her. That's total nonsense.
Everybody. It's everybody. Yeah. And it's interesting because, you know, it's over the last maybe 5-6 years, you know, it's just the urge has gotten stronger and stronger. It's like in your gut, you know, and you have to, it's like you can't not be who you are at this point is what I feel like, you know. So talk about the ascension. We got maybe a couple more minutes before we get out of here for today, or is there a special message? I don't know. A lot of people are ascending and they're confused, and I like to talk about it just so they feel more comfortable. Is there something you want to leave us with that would really be helpful for people?
Oh, the first thing I would say is that, and we kind of touched upon it earlier, is that we all signed up for this.
Yeah.
And I realize that we can't access these things, but we can through specific meditations. We actually can access these things. It is possible, I promise you. So know that this was planned, and it was planned by you. You decided you needed to be here. You decided you wanted to be a part of it. You decided you wanted to witness it. You decided you wanted to participate in it. So in that sense, embrace it. Embrace what is going on, accept and embrace what is going on. This is remarkable. You are remarkable. Okay. You're witnessing your own spiritual evolution right before your eyes, literally. And if we go back for a moment, about what I said, that consciousness can no longer evolve through things outside of itself. And so the things outside of itself are the beliefs, the concepts, the ideologies, and so-called knowledge, which are simply justified beliefs. Okay. This, what you are, the soul, like the 2-finger thing that we just did, that does not evolve through focusing on stuff outside of yourself.
That's right.
Right. So let these things do what they're going to do. Okay. Let the beliefs crumble. Let the concepts no longer make sense anymore. Let the ideologies fall apart. Let the so-called knowledge be questioned and to be revealed that it is inauthentic. Let that happen, because it is really the birth of yourself, or really the rebirth of yourself. And you're here for this. If you weren't here now, then you wouldn't have signed up for it. You signed up for it because you're here now. You want this. You might not remember, you might not remember this, but I promise you, it's why you're here. Embrace it, enjoy it, and be fearless. Okay.
Yeah.
None of us came here to stay, so you don't have to fit in.
And you don't have to be afraid.
Exactly. Remember, this is just the screen of consciousness. What you are is inside.
Yeah.
Let all this happen, because there's nothing you can do about it anyway. It's gonna happen anyway.
And it's all going to be love anyway. It's all the fear is going to go away, and it's all going to be love. And I just want to say that, because that's a big deal. And so as our vibration raises, there won't be need for people to be unkind or any of that stuff anymore. It'll be gone.
When we get more in touch with the self, like through that little exercise, okay, we will really realize the connectivity, that we really are all one. And so therefore, everything is designed for us to work and come together.
Yeah. How exciting. So glad you came on the show today. Thank you for joining us. You guys, this book is called Self Healing. It's the Supercharged Self Healing. It's by RJ Spina. It's coming out November the 8th. Anything else we need to know before we get out of here today? Your website one more time?
Yeah, superchargedselfhealing.com. Get your free guide to some of those magic tricks that we did. And then if you want to work with me or go to my personal website, it's ascendthefrequencies.com. And my email is rj@ascendthefrequencies.com.
All right. Thanks for coming on today. I truly appreciate it. Hey, you guys, this is Nancy. You're out. This is High Road to Humanity. We will see you next time. Everybody take care and God bless.
Connect the dots and keep the motion. Can achieve your goal. Let's hit the higher road.
Hey, you guys, join me next week on The High Road for more stories filled with wisdom, love, and hope for our future. Have a fabulous week, and know that by staying on the high road, you will make it to your destination. Visit my website, nancyyearout.com, where you can book a private session to learn how to tap into your own abilities. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Nancy Yearout's High Road to Humanity.
'Cause you can achieve your goal.